Good afternoon, on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Tuesday, the 4th of July. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And a stack of parcels to unbox. I've got another parcel that is from Drive-Thru RPG. Let's hope this glue isn't too strong on this one. And what I've got in there is this. This is Black Seal, issue number 4, the magazine of modern horror gaming, designed for Call of Cthulhu. This is the essentially. It's the print-on-demand version of a magazine-fanzine that was originally published in the late 90s. That is Not Dead, Which Can Eternal Live. The magazine of modern horror gaming, The Black Seal, is back for an extended suspended animation with an 80-page issue for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. The Black Seal 4 is about the persistence of life with 6 articles and scenarios related to this theme or are adjacent to it. Completing the rest of the issue are articles about cults and lobotomies. We like to cover a lot of ground. And a report on a strange alien artifact includes usual suspects, the It Girl. Howard David Ingham describes the party girl with a dark secret. Myth Maiden Chloe Summerfield describes the horned god to the establishment. Objet de Mythos Bleak Relay Andrew Kenrick's summary of missing MyGo weaponry mistaken as alien tech. The personality of cults Graeme Price's advice on using cults better in your Call of Cthulhu game. The Daughter for the Great God Pan is a scenario by Giles Hill and Nick Brownlow about a super mythos model going off the rails. Horror and gunplay ensues. Dangerous Places, New Carcosa, Ben Counter presents a possible New Eden in Canada. Slugs and Snails, Howard David Ingham's scenario of British public school teenage emotions of Idra. And Unusual Suspects, Sarah Hardcastle, Henry Reeder describes a modern day witch/business tycoon who talks to an ancient British spirit guide. Under the Knife, Psychosurgery, Graeme Price outlines history, theory, and practice of lobotomies and how keepers can use them in their Call of Cthulhu games. And this is published by 60stone Press, who are best known perhaps for the investigate guides to weapons, for which there are 3 volumes so far. Trying to think, 1920s and 30s, modern day, and gaslight stroke Wild West or Western. So, what have we got in here? Full contents page. And then we're literally, without really wasting any time, there is no there's no introduction, no content, no word from the editor before we get into the Unusual Suspects. And this is all backed up. Just trying to check with just trying to look if there's an indication of the artist. Basically David Lee Ingersoll, I believe, essentially provided the cover and a lot of the artwork in here. But here we start. Unusual Suspects, the It Girl. So you've got a couple of pages connected with the God of Pan, full stats as well. So you've got an NPC you can bring to a game, a discussion of Myth Maiden letters from the British Museum, discussion of the Horned God and its role in the mythos, discussion with the British Museum. That's an interesting thing. We've got an advert there for the other now, basically the more recent Call of Cthulhu Lovecraftian investigative role-playing game magazine by it as if. And Andrew Kenrick's Objet de Mythos, which is the Bleak Relay, done as a report, sort of like a case report on an item, basically a piece of Mego tech or alien tech that's fallen into the wrong. It's always falls into the wrong hands, of course. Graeme Price writes Personality of Cults, some thoughts on cult membership in Call of Cthulhu. And the thing is, cultists tend to sort of like, okay, you're just evil. That's it. And you are, you're giving up your humanity to serve greater, uncaring, inhuman forces, and you don't care about us. But, there's a lot to be said for looking at cultists and fleshing them out to make them a bit more interesting. So he's asking what is a cult, who do cults recruit, and how. What does being in a cult mean? What happens when a cultist leaves, and so on. And there's a nice little bibliography at the end there. So it's only it's 4 pages, but it's a starter, I think, for something that for you, basically want to add depth and detail to your cultists as NPCs. And then we have a daughter for the great god Pan. It's the scenario, and absolutely nicely connected there. You've got a News of the World front cover, Sarah Stalker linked to sick sex murder, so what you have there is, a very typical British tabloid front cover, which is going to capture, everybody's interest, and basic more details, essentially background and so on, and development for the scenario. Essentially. And then the player characters, essentially the investigators, are meant to get involved with Sarah somehow and try to discover her secrets. We've got a full list of her entourage here. Again, nicely illustrated with thumbnail portraits. And so on. And of course, ultimately things will be revealed because Sarah will be connected to something here, and whilst it might not necessarily sort of like the tabloid press, the allegations might necessarily stick as such, the player characters will come to realise quite what's going on, I imagine. So, picture a map of the compound where she is, where she lives. And then we have a nice map of the Dorchester Hotel Conference Centre, where everything is going to go wrong. Stats for the NPCs. Then, for a change of pace, we're off to New Carcosa, at a New Eden in Canada, which is definitely not going to be not what it seems, because hey, Carcosa has come to Earth. The King in Yellow's influence has spread, and tell me, have you seen the yellow sign? And we have the James Bay Project, or New Carcosa. It's all backed up. So you've got a description of the setting, plus we've got some adventure seeds there as well. So you can bring that into play if you so want. Full stats for various individuals connected with New Carcosa. And backgrounds as well, so they're quite detailed NPCs. Slugs and Snails, a scenario of British public school life, which is made all the more fraught and fractious, because hey, we are dealing with the influence of the mythos on a essentially public school, and all that entails. I can only imagine. I didn't go to a public school, but I did go to a grammar school, and there's not a lot of difference. So yeah, and then we've got notes at the end here for playing school kids and teachers as investigators, and then unusual suspects. We have in modern day witch/business tycoon who talks to the British spirit guide, and you know, nothing of course can go wrong, as you can see from that image there. It's not explicit, but it's definitely suggestive. I've got a list of scenario seeds, and we've got a discussion of under the knife psychosurgery, leucotomy, lobotomy, and the legacy of Igaz Monez. So we end on a surgical note. That should be an interesting options and ideas. Includes the lobotomy in Call of Cthulhu and its effects, plus a nice bibliography. And last words, editorial witterings and musing. And basically you've got the editorial at the end there. So yeah, nice to have this back. It's sort of like what we've, you know, it's a much missed fanzine or magazine because of its strength of its content and its British slant for the most part. Anyway, so that's the Black Seal issue 4 from 60stone Press. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, do please click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings of the Nook, you will see me with a package containing a book or game, or in this case a magazine, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then do please click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.